Right, shall we do what we did last time then, and just do a quick round saying who we are, what you are, what you do. Spend max of 20 seconds, if that. So I'll go first. I'm Mike. I organise this with the help of Sebastian, sorting out Zoom. I'm a developer, do both front and back end with Umbraco, and I live in Kent. Emma, you can go next.
Hi, Emma Burstow, and I am a web developer. I work in the city, I work in London, but live in the sticks in Reigate, and that's me.
All right, let me try now. I'm Sotiris. I'm from Greece. I'm currently technically on vacation. I'm in southern Greece and it's scorching. I'm sweating, as you can see. And I've been doing web development with Umbraco and DNN for the last 7 years, I think. And I'm running my own company here in Greece. That's it, Web Services.
Nice. Owain?
Hi, I'm Owen, a developer in Edinburgh. Been working with Umbraco for about 3 years now, but basically a year commercially. And yeah, that's about me really. So we'll go for Sebastian.
Oh, that's me. I'm based in Copenhagen and I work with Umbraco too. Oh, actually, I work for Umbraco. Do you see this wonderful poster that someone made? It's really cool. Yep, and I'm also drinking a Ale Farm brewing saturated with the most beautiful label. I love it. Matt?
Hey, I'm Matt. I am probably full stack dev, so I do front end, back end work. Well, I have my own company called Outfield Digital, where we predominantly do Umbraco stuff, but I'm also one half of the Umco team as well, working on various open source packages and different things like Code Cabin and whatnot. So, yeah, that's me. Gordon?
Hi, I'm a developer in the south of England. Couple of years of experience on Umbraco. I've used various other CMSs, but obviously found the love of Umbraco. I'll nominate Mark.
Hi, yeah, so I'm Mark, so I'm watching the West Ham game in the background as well. Yeah, hi Mark, I'm Mark, I'm a Umbraco developer and a West Ham fan. Hello?
Who wants to go next? Yeah, we hear you, Mark.
Yeah. Hi there, right.
Cool. Sven? Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. I'm Sven from Belgium. Been working with Umbraco for 2 and something years now. It's mainly what I do. Umbraco, developing websites. Yeah, that's it. Basically. I don't know who else hasn't come yet, but yeah, go ahead.
John?
Oh, me? Hello? Yes. Yeah, I'm John Tito, based in Reading, UK. I'm developers, worked in Umbraco on and off about 9 years. I also do Office 365, but at the moment I'm just doing C# development.
You're doing what? Sorry?
Getting a little bit of feedback though, John.
Oh, right. What about now?
I don't know. Maybe it's.
Is that better?
Is anyone else getting this feedback, or is it just me?
Me too.
Strange.
Let's try to keep going. Who's yet to introduce themselves? Anyone?
Are you talking to me? Okay. Hi, I'm Purnima. I've been with Umbraco for about 7 years. I'm a freelancer in the UK. based usually from my home office in Slough, or Langley to be precise. Happy Saturday, everyone.
Happy Saturday to you. It's left.
Yeah. Speaking of Slough, I'm from Odense in Denmark. Sometimes referred to as the Danish version of Slough. Work at the Kottal, mostly back-end, front-end, whatever works. So probably pretty much like that. So yeah, let's go for Lars.
Sure. Hello, do you want to introduce yourself? You there, Lars?
Yeah, hi. Were everybody waiting for me to say hi?
Yeah.
All right, sorry. Hey, guys.
Do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah. My name is Lars-Erik Aabæk, and I work at Markedspartner in Norway, Umbraco MVP, yay. And generally very enthusiastic about Umbraco and .NET and clean architecture and everything.
And finally, is it Juan? Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, nice to meet you. I am Juan David. I started with Umbraco 5 years ago. Started in Bogota, Colombia. Now I am working in Spain, in Madrid, as a Umbraco developer.net.
Awesome. Lovely. Right, so I've got a very, very rough plan for today. First off, intros, which we've done. Next off, I'll just quickly go through any news that may have happened in the Umbraco land. I'll just go over some of the various releases, maybe highlight some packages I've about 10 minutes ago had a little look and found. And then from there, I think if Sebastiaan wants to do a update on the PR team, maybe, yeah. And then after that, Emma can do a little talk on talk. Get us all ready to make our own talks. Then after that, if anyone has anything they want to demo or show off or just talk about in general, we could potentially discuss certain nested content issues, who knows, or not. I don't think anyone wants to go there anymore, do we? But yeah, we can sort of free flow out from there. So I will get started. I'll share my screen. Let's see. Is it working? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Cool. I need to move this dash things right in my way. Go away. I can't get my tabs. There we go. Right, so a couple of things. I was just going through a bit between the blogs and the various community things going on. So there's been quite a few barbecues. Last night there was a barbecue in London, which is good fun. I think the weekend beforehand you had a barbecue in Denmark, if I'm not mistaken, and I think there's also a Brighton barbecue as well. So I think this started off last year. Callum organised it from Godworks, and I think it's sprouted out into 3 barbecues this year. Who knows, and maybe more next year. So that's a cool thing in the community going on. Version 7.12 was released last week, right? And that comes with a couple of features, quite a few pull requests merged in as well, which I'm sure Sebastiaan will share us all cool stuff that was put into that. So we go and quickly skim. Who's, out of curiosity, who's had a little look through the various releases? Okay, cool, a couple then. So I'll just skim over them. Things like restoring media from the media library. New color picker, so I think Owen did a great job on this. So if you're aware of what the icon color picker used to look like when you're creating the dot types, Owen instigated this PR, which updated it, which makes it absolutely awesome. I got to use it for the first time last week, and it made me happy. So thanks, Owen, for that. Great work. And this other document types collections. quite cool. So quite often, if you're creating news say a news article and a news listing page, usually you have to, in the back office, create a document types one at a time, and then you've got to go back to your listing page, sign that as let it allow children of the article page. This document type collection essentially just does that in one. So you add your name of the document type and then of the listing one, and then you could have your individual item that lives under that, such as the blog item, and it will automatically create those two document types for you with the individual item set to work underneath them. I don't know if I've explained that super well, but it's a cool little feature. And this is another one. So having in the link picker on rich text editors, they've added this option to select existing anchor links that could appear further down or somewhere on the page in rich text editors. So you can also add your own anchors or query strings in there as well. This did have a few little issues with some other packages and whatnot, but I think those have been resolved now, as far as I'm aware. And yeah, just a various number of UX and bug improvements. So that's that. Unicorner. Who's aware of what the Unicorner is? Got a couple people, yeah. So I'm sure if you're frequenting Twitter, you would have been seeing it advertised. Daniels has got a thing that happens on a Monday where he interviews some people in the Umbraco HQ team to help bring out the transparency. So it's worth a watch. It's quite interesting. I think that last week they had some of the dev team on. Cool. And then
I might be featured in the next episode.
Oh,
together with Ilham, our community engagement officer.
Very good. So that'll be on Monday, will that be? Cool. So keep an eye out for that. And then I think this is another one of yours, actually, Sebastiaan, talking about the work that the PR team.
Hey, that's what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah. So I'll quickly brief. They've done a great job, but Sebastiaan will talk about in more detail. I'll leave that one for the time being. So there were a few packages that I quickly looked at that I was just skimming through to see what new ones have appeared. And there's two that sort of quickly caught my eye. One of them was this dark theme. So I'm sure as developers, some of us like a sort of dark theme of an editor. Someone's created a dark theme for the back office. I'm not sure how useful this would actually be for users, but it was an interesting little package. The other one I thought was very interesting, which looks like it was released today, or yesterday, sorry, is Rasmus, who does the multi-link picker, multi-link picker. He's created this Umbraco embedded content, which, from what I can tell, looks a little bit like a stacked content sort of thing, with the ability to disable things off. It's got a UI. So just an interesting take on content management in the back office of the package. So I don't know whether many people have tried this out. Like I said, I think it was released yesterday. So it'll be interesting to see how this does. It looks like quite a cool little feature.
It has toggles.
Yeah, it's got toggles. Yeah. So I don't know whether this was as a result of that.
No, but they've been working on this for a few years already, and Display has been using this their own nested content alt, like Matt calls it, for a few years already. So
yeah, I did actually see. I saw a version of. Because I think it came up in one of the conversations somewhere, and I found one for V6 that hadn't been used in a long time. So this has just been released. I'm guessing it's an update on it. Yeah, cool little thing. Has anyone else seen it, or have I missed any? I've probably missed out quite a lot of news. Is there any other things that people like to add to this? No? Cool. Right. So that's that little bit of news out of the way. I will stop sharing my screen. There we go. So, shall we get to you, Sebastiaan?
What, me?
Yeah. I said I was skimming through that news.
Yep. I'm just going to see. My participants window has disappeared, so if anybody is waiting, there we go. There we go. Got another Matt in the room. Yeah, let me share my screen a little bit. We're over here. Cool. Are we there?
Yep.
Are you seeing the PR Team Chronicles?
Yes.
I have a few screens. So yep, for the results for July are in. It's almost a month later, so we'll talk about a little update in between as well. Really good progress in July. Once again, even more activity than in the month before that. So the June month, a few more pull requests merged, a few less coming in. So you guys are not doing your best. Or I should say y'all. I'm going to try and have the Texan accent then. Y'all. No, I can't do it. Can't do it. We also have a steep drop in actually still open community pull requests, which is really cool. So this is the lowest point it's been for the last year and a bit, I think, and we're hopefully on our way to making this drop even more for this month. So that means that anything that y'all have submitted, not the ones that we use internally. Internally, we also use pull requests for almost everything, but anything that's coming in from community is dropping down now. This also means that we're left with the most difficult PRs that are still open. Of course, I took a lot of low-hanging fruit last month and merged those. So it might slow down a little bit for the next month, but that's fine, as long as the incoming versus merged keeps being higher. So the merged hopefully should be higher at the end of each month. So we actually keep going down. The trend should keep going. Few cool pull requests were there. Adam Shellcross from the Cogworks has finally put in his first pull request. So his first contribution to Umbraco ever, as he likes to call it, because he's never done anything for Umbraco ever before. So. And then, yeah, you already mentioned Owen's beautiful color picker, which I think came out of a discussion at a meetup that he had. Super cool. We've been working on it for a little bit, a few months with him, and we're very happy that it's finally there. And we also got to work a little bit on other color pickers, because as soon as you start doing color pickers, Bjarne Fusenborg, he wakes up and he goes, "Oh, color pickers! I love color pickers!" And he has been working on the built-in color picker for data type. So you can actually drag and drop the order of the colors, and he's still working on some more updates for that one, which is really cool. Some of the other things that I enjoyed is the show password little I when you log in is now no longer in the text field, but right under it, so that password managers can actually be used again. You talked about restore items from media recycle. The member types tree can now be moved into the settings section, or any section, I think, but the settings section is really where it belongs, together with the document type trees and the media type tree, right? And if you've ever, as a developer, you've done this lots of times, you hit Control-U to view source. And if you do that in Umbraco, then it actually unpublishes a page, which is really fun if you have a 8,000 page website and you do this on the top node, then that means that your whole site is unpublished. And try and get it to publish all 8,000 items once again, it's going to take a while. So now we just ask for a little confirmation, and we're all good. Yep. Then we're due another hackathon on next Friday. So it's Cogworks organizing that one, and it's also a virtual hackathon. You can join remotely if you want to. So there's loads of things that are up for grabs on the issue tracker that could use a little bit of your help. So if you can, then we'd love your help. Numbers. Maybe these numbers have changed already a little bit. I have a little dashboard, and I can't remember where's my, oh, here it is. So currently, It's gone up a little bit, so instead of 111 open, we have 115 open, but I'm eyeing at least 4 that I can close this weekend, so fingers crossed. It should be better by Monday. You've been slowing down a little bit and creating new ones, which is fine. Then we can actually catch up on merging and closing. So we're at 25 versus 28. This means that we're almost past the limit of closing more than merging or than created. New contributors says 3. I think it should be 4. And one notable mention was that at the Umbraco barbecue last week in Aarhus, Denmark, a guy named Radu just showed up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've been using Umbraco for about 2 days. I'm studying it and I'm enjoying it. So I thought I'd check out this meetup." And he came in for a little hackathon as well. And he sent his first pull request, and it was accepted. So if you've been doing Umbraco for 2 days, you can already do pull requests, and we'll be happy about it. Yep. So that's pull requests, and then a little bit of a sneak peek. The reason that I've been that it's been slowing down a little bit is that I've been very, very busy actually finally almost getting the issue tracker moved from utrack to GitHub. So more news very soon. This will make things much easier for everyone involved, even us. So yep, I think that's it. If you have any questions.
Did we get a sneak peek of the
no, it's closed. There's no issue tracker right now. I haven't opened it up yet, but I've been very busy integrating it into our Umbraco, because our release notes are all coming from utrack. So yeah, we had to change that. We've been discussing labeling and making sure that we get everything in the right process and things like that. We also use utrack as a sprint board, so we're also moving away from that because we need to get the GitHub issues in there. So it's been yeah, it's been a surprisingly big project. It's 1.5 years in the making, so we're getting there.
Be worth the change, right?
Oh, it's going to be so good. I've deleted so much crappy code from our Umbraco right now. I'm so happy about it. I just can't wait to launch.
Cool.
Yep.
Thanks very much for that.
No worries.
Right, so next up, Emma, if you're ready, and then just a quick note. After that, we'll have Owen going over his community corner stuff, which should be really cool. Straight, take it away, Emma.
Okay, hello. So I've never done screen share or anything, so if I have technical issues, you'll have to forgive me, I'm afraid. So I originally ran this workshop last year in probably about, well, actually I know it was October. I think John Cito and Mike Masey were both there. Mike's asked me to run this workshop at Kent. I've never got around to it. And Carol's asked me to take it to Glasgow too. I've not. That's a really long way to go though. That's a bloody long trek. So I haven't done it since. The other thing you should know about this kind of session is that it relies very heavily on you doing what I ask you to do. So you're going to have to contribute, and you're going to have to use your brains. So I'm really sorry if you weren't intending to use your brains today, Saturday.
But I'm watching the football.
I know, right? I'm getting through this so that I can go and watch the football. And I'm sorry, Mark, because you're watching the football too, yeah. So originally we did this, we worked in pairs. Now, there's no real facility for us to work in pairs, but if you want to use the chat function, I can do, should I do a screen share? No, I won't do a share yet. If you click a person on the drop down, you can communicate with just one person. So if you did want to work in pairs, you can express that intention when I give you your starting exercise. So in a moment, I'm going to try and do a screen share, and you guys are going to answer a question. You're going to have about 30 seconds to write down a few keywords. You can use a pen and paper, or you can use the technology that you've got in front of you. Oh, Matt Brailsford's got paper, guys. So, Mike Masey's got paper. Owen's got paper. This is good. Seb, come on. Yay, John. All right, good. So so paper helps, but it's not really essential. Lars, I'll do. So I'm going to try and get screen share to work and give you a question. You have 60 seconds to answer that question by furiously scribbling it down. I'm going to go by pressing share, desktop. Can you guys see my desktop? Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yes.
Present. Present. Still see? You might need to move your thing on the side, but what talk or article did you find most memorable this year? Okay, Google, set a timer for 60 seconds. I'll have to do that manually. Okay?
It's literally ticking.
Ready, steady, go.
Does it have to be Umbraco related?
Absolutely not.
Cool.
But if it could be, no, anything. 20 seconds to go. Time's up. Okay, so I guess you all wrote some stuff down. I'm going to ask Purnima to tell me about what talk or article you found most memorable, please. For the group, please, if that's all right. If you don't.
Talk. Yours actually about the retreat at the Meetup. That was good. Yeah.
It wasn't a trap. Like you didn't have to say one of mine.
No. I actually, that crossed my mind. If it has to be a second one, it has to be the Umbraco keynote at CG18 because it was my first quote. Got it.
Fab. Brilliant. Sebastian, you piqued my interest too. You actually, I think I've got to calm you down. You piqued my interest when you said.
I was trying to be creative and find something else, but I must admit that I can't remember anything right now. I need another beer first.
I've just had my delivery arrive, so I'll be on point too. Since I know, Matt, you're not shy, you can talk. What about your talk?
Well, mine are two things that I've been kind of researching recently anyway. So I've recently done an online course which is about advanced Vue components with Vue.js. So that was really pretty interesting and learned quite a few things that I didn't know before. And CSS utility classes as well is another thing that I've been kind of researching. And there's a couple of really good articles that I read that kind of make it click in my head. So pretty interesting.
Thank you, Matt Brailsford. I am going to tell you a bit about the rest of the things we're going to do today. And the reason that I made you think and write and share just now. I've called this talk "Let's Talk" because you get to say talk twice. I felt like it was snappy. I didn't call it that last time I did it, but I just hated the title last time. So first of all, I want to tell you why I think it's important that we talk. My background is in teaching, and one of the things that we had to do before we set loose in the classroom was talk about what made better learners. And it turns out that there's a kind of hierarchy of learning, and at the very bottom of the hierarchy is kind of being told something. Being shown how to do something is fantastic, and being allowed to engage in your own learning, so you're building something with somebody else, is even better for your learning. But the best learning experience we have as young people and adults is when we teach. So if there's something that I need to communicate to you, just the very process of me trying to show you how to do something makes me better at what I do. So when we teach, we become better learners, and you can check. Vygotsky and Piaget will tell you that. That's not me, so that's fine. Umbraco is, of course, an open source project, and it needs considered and diverse contributions. And when I say considered and diverse, the reason I use the word diverse is because, in fact, it's very easy to assume that you just have to be a really good coder to be a contributor. And 2 is in, I'm definitely 3 is in, I guess now. I'm proof that that's not true. So talking is important for that reason. We get credit for our hard work. We make sure that we're not reinventing the wheel. And the reason I say that is because I think that there are some super smart people doing some really impressive things right now, but not telling us. The minute you share what you've learned or what you've created, it's not a matter of showing off. It's giving other people the opportunity to come and talk to you and say, oh, hey, I was about to go and build that thing. And, you know, that's the spirit of our community. It also helps because we inspire other people in the community. So when I say talk, some of you will just be like, get back, no, it's not for me, I'm not interested. But talk doesn't have to be talk. When I say talk, I mean keeping a blog. Give me a wave if you keep a blog. Yeah, we've got a good few here. Talking at festivals, which is, you know, the arguably scarier side of things. It shouldn't be in the Umbraco world, to be fair. We've got people on the forum in our umbraco.org. We've got team feedback at work, as simple as just sort of going to a meeting, saying what you've learned or saying something you did, sharing your work with other people. We've got working collaboratively, which is something that used to terrify me, actually. But some really, really fantastic work gets done when you can have 2 people working together in this business. I think you guys probably know that from experience. Or you could write an article. So that's the other thing. You could be writing an article for somewhere like Script or 24 Days in Umbraco and so on. That one. So the reason that people don't talk, I asked people from the community and they said, I don't feel comfortable standing up in a room full of people. I have absolutely nothing to speak about, which is a personal favourite of mine, and something we'll tackle today. All the ideas I have end up already being already out there. I'm not an expert, which is not a really good one. People will ask difficult questions that I can't answer. I kind of felt like, and I know it's silly, but like, people would be a bit fed up of me by now. I recorded these quotes verbatim as well. You could probably guess who some of those people were too. So now I'm going to give you a chance to work on your very own talk. Now, remember, I don't expect to see you standing up at Code Garden next year, but I would love for you to walk away from this with a feeling that you could contribute in one of those 6 ways that I've mentioned. And why? Why should you do that? Because, you know, let's say we're all selfish creatures. What is in it for us? Well, I asked everybody who had done a talk that really, really impressed me. So I asked Mark Goodson, I asked Pete Duncanson, I asked Carol, and some other people here too. I asked Lottie, and I recorded some of the quotes. These are what some of the people said to me about being speakers. And I also want to stress that although all 4 of those people that I mentioned seem very, very comfortable, very, very confident, not one of them was just like, oh, it was so easy. I just love doing this. Not even Pete, well, he was a bit like that, but not even really Pete. Okay, so it sounds cheesy, but a lot of my motivation to do it is that you can't be what you can't see thing. I can't complain there are no female speakers and then say no to speaking. That was the main reason I agreed to do Code Garden. I didn't really want to or think I was experienced enough, but I remember thinking last year, where are all the ladies? That wasn't Pete Duncanson that said that. I was invited to, and it seemed the polite thing to do. Although initially I said no, I realised the project I was working on made a really good case study. and I had easily 3 hours of material from regular blog posts. In my job situation at the time, I realised it might be the thing to do to create other opportunities. I wasn't sure I could do it, but the final tipping point was thinking I could have a map of the UK with Liverpool on it. The project was about liverpool.gov.uk, would talk in Copenhagen and say, here is Liverpool. I know the good people of Denmark know where it is, but there are some folk here who are from London. You can guess, that was Mark. I just try my best to be honest. Whether I'm speaking or writing, I just throw in a bunch of disclaimers at the beginning. I'm new to this, or I'm no expert. No one has ever been anything other than encouraging, and I'm not terrified of being uncovered as a fraud. I probably wouldn't have gotten my current role had I not agreed to do the talk. It made me visible, and actually when I walked away I felt like I really fluffed it. And then I had some really positive feedback from people, in fact overwhelmingly so. I came away feeling and apparently looking loads more accomplished than when I went in. And I'm going to skip that one because I didn't realise I had so many. This is my favourite. I faced one of my all-time greatest fears and didn't die. That's, you know, a lovely reason to do it. So when I asked you earlier what talk or article did you find most memorable this year, it was to get you to start thinking, because what we're going to do now is we're going to see a series of prompts, and I'm going to ask you to start writing down or recording in your brain or using technology some keywords just as a reaction to the question. So for me, if I saw this, I loved Emma Garland's Solid Principles Umbraco script article this year. I just thought it was fab. So I'd start writing down things like solid and back office, single responsibility, so on and so on. And that would be my approach to this. So you're going to look at the slides and you're going to start making note of your answers. Is there anyone here who thinks they would like to use the chat function to work in pairs? Or shall I assume that you are not working in pairs?
Shall we go without pairs? Just because I think
I'm going to assume you're
it all puts in the same chat and it might get a little bit nuts.
Yeah, true. Okay. All right. Ready? Okay. You have 6 prompts. I'm not going to give you long. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes starts now. $20 seconds to go. And stop. Okay. We're going to give you some more. Ready? 2 minutes.
What if you have no colleagues?
We're your colleagues now.
Seriously, it's kind of your colleague.
We're your colleagues. And you got to be honest there, you know. Okay, time's up. Before we go to the last one, there are 6 more questions or something like that. Are there any questions that anybody had a problem with or want me to sort of clarify?
Yeah, about question 3, favorite language. Do you mean in programming language or just any language, spoken or otherwise?
I really meant programming language, but there's just no reason it couldn't be spoken language too. Like for the sake of the exercise, you can go with whatever you felt most compelled to answer.
All right.
All right, I'm going to give you the last set of questions, and then at the end, we're going to do something with your answers, okay? And that's the main part of the exercise. So, ready, steady, last one. I'm not going to ask you to share any of these, by the way. I'm not going to ask you to share anything to the end, so you can be really frank. So, but you've done already.
I'm just really good at typing.
You were that kid in class that was like, finished, finished.
I was actually. Not so much anymore.
Yeah, so was I once. 30 seconds to go.
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay, time's up. Is it strange doing this for the second time, Mike?
No, because I'm looking at it completely differently.
That's what I was thinking. Like when I thought about changing all of these questions, when I looked at them again, I just thought, no, I have different answers to all of these.
And I was not drunk last time, Matt. I was slightly inebriated.
It was late enough in the evening last time. But, okay. Now we're all sober as judges. Okay. So, if you have a sheet of paper, I want you to split it into 4. A really good way of doing that, I'll show you with a bit of paper I have, is just to go in half, like so, and then in half again.
So we're going to make a swan?
No, although I can. That's a whole different talk. And then you've got 4. If you're not using paper, you're going to have to use mental gymnastics. Or MS Paint, or just be creative with Notepad, okay? So you've got 4 areas, and that's what we're looking for. I want you to look back at your answers, and I want you to write them in such a way that they are grouped. So for me, if I wrote maintaining focus as an answer to what do you find most difficult about your job, or what do you find most irritating about your team, people coming up to me and saying, can you just do something like that? And I look at maintaining focus and I look at can you just, and I think actually those two are related. So I write those there at the top. Then I think IOC and dependency injection are also related. So I put those together. So we're going to try and group our keywords now. You've only got 4 groups. You're allowed to have spares. I'm not going to be checking. It's not a test. So if you've got odd ones, do what you like with them. But I'm going to give you 2 minutes just to put all of your answers into groups. Don't name those groups. Just put them into groups. Any questions?
Does it matter if you can't fill 4 groups? What if a lot of them feel like they go into one particular?
That's all right, I guess. I mean, yeah, that's okay. That's probably a good thing.
Cool.
30 seconds to go. Give me a wave if you think you need more time. Okay, time's up. The next step, if you're still kind of doing this, that's fine, because the next step will make a little more sense, and you shouldn't need as much time for that, is to start to name your 4 or 3 or 2 groups. So for me, maintaining focus and being interrupted during work, I put underneath ways of working, and I thought it kind of falls into the area of, you know, if I was king, what would I do? How would I make the rules fine? And then IOC and dependency injection, I really wanted to write an article about these things. I did in the end, but at this point it was a goal of mine, so I labelled it tech goals. So I'd like you to come up with some group names, but while you do that, I want you to ask yourself a few questions about your names, which are themes. So is there something here that you feel particularly strongly about? Is there something here that might benefit at least one other person? Is there something that you need to learn more about? Do you even have time to learn more about it? And if you were to pass it on, what would be the best format and who is the best audience? 2 minutes. Any questions?
It's a beautiful background, though.
Okay, well, time's up, which is good timing because now I have to sort my technical problems. Can you see that? Good.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Right, we're fine. We're back to square one. It's okay. Right, so what I hope we've managed to do is, or what I hope I managed to do, is show you that there are at least 3 things, maybe 2, that you actively give a hoot about. So 3 areas upon which you have an opinion, and unfortunately, not all of those 3 areas might be appropriate to share. They might not be interesting to share. You might not know enough to share any, but my aim is today for you to go away and look at those areas and come up with a title for your talk. So when I walked away from running this workshop, I ended up writing about dependency injection. I answered these questions here. Can you see my cursor as well as, yeah, good. I answered these questions. This one here, is there more I need to learn about this? The answer was a resounding yes. And do I have that time? It was a little yes. And so I did go away and I did write that article. It was incredibly rewarding. It was terrifying and rewarding. What I'd like you to do now, in a moment, if I have any volunteers, is to tell me what 4 themes you came up with and maybe which you feel would be most interesting for you to take and turn into a talk. And remember, when I say talk, I don't mean you have to stand up in front of a room full of people and do it, but a hypothetical talk. So does anyone want to volunteer their talk?
How much time do we have to figure out our talk names?
Why don't you tell me, not the title, but why don't you tell me the your group names?
Okay, so I had one that was streaming workflows.
Mm-hmm.
So between design and developers. They going from here's designer giving you a design with their thoughts of how it should work and then actually building it and how you can make that process a bit smoother. Nice. The other one was improving UIs with animations and whatnot whilst maintaining accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got community contribution and encouraging others.
Oh, nice. Okay. So what question led you to think about, for instance, the designer and developer relationship or workflow?
That's a very good question, because I wrote down all my answers, but I didn't write the questions as well.
Oh, sorry. But what were you thinking, or what led you to thinking that that was something you were interested in?
I think one of them was, what would you like to do to improve your work thing? One was just working more efficiently. The other thing was with taking notes, and it was prepping for a project.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And there's some other stuff. I just put JavaScript and animations down as one as well.
Nice.
I think I'm doing a lot of stuff at that at the moment, so it seems to be hot on my heels in my head.
I think there's a particular value in writing an article or doing a talk on something that you're doing a lot of stuff on at the moment. If you're embroiled in it, like sometimes I wake up in the morning and it's the first thing I think about if it's something I'm working on. That leads to you just being in a position to share. And actually, you sort of need to as well, because the minute it's out, somebody will contribute and you manage to walk away thinking, yeah, that's a good take. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Seb, since you're the smart kid in the class that finishes, could you tell me what your areas were called?
Oh my! I have, like you, I have ways of working. This is no surprise to anyone. I have security. I have an inspiration area, which I might need to split out.
Okay.
And I also actually have a community contribution area.
Could you tell me about the inspiration area? What that means?
Inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. No, it's just I was just thinking about. So there's two of the answers there. One of them is the talk that I finally found one that I remembered. It's from a few years ago at Code Garden. It was called Share Your Shit.
Oh, nice.
And he meant that literally, because we used to actually do a lot of that when we were in the few million years ago. I don't know what era that was, but it was a talk all about how sharing is good and healthy and wonderful, and yeah, it was really good. Really connected with the open source thing and community contributions as well. So this actually should have been in community contributions. I'm moving it now. Okay.
That's fine. That's fine. No, it's not a hard and fast rule. It's going to make you think. And with that in mind, I won't press anyone else unless there's any. But is there anyone that wants to share? No. Okay. Well, I'm not going to press anyone. I'm certainly not going to pick on anyone. But what I would urge you to do is to get in touch with me. That's me on Twitter. If you come up with a talk title, if there's something that you think a day from now or a week from now, do you know what? This brought out how stressed out I get when I am distracted during work. And I've come up with this great idea and I've written this blog post for my company and they're going to post it. Then I'd like to know about it just to see if I've made you think. So that will be the title of your talk. If it's a blog post, even if it's a Twitter thread, I would like to know. So hit me up. Unless you've got any questions, that's all I've got. So I'm going to say thank you. Thank you for indulging me. Thank you for doing as you're told. Thanks for not being disruptive. And that's it. Out.
Thank you very much for a great talk.
I do have one question, which I just noticed today. Why is your Twitter name with one M?
Oh, I have no idea. When I was Potter, it was Emapot, and then I became Burstow, Emaburst. I can't. It's too late to change.
Might be able to change it.
That's the only reason. No, like
no, it's more fun.
Email and everything. It's too late.
Yeah, first of should be. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Emma. I'll give you a round of applause. Right. So next up, Owen, if you want to have a little talk about your new community corner, take it away.
Yep, that's me. Cheers. Yeah. So the community corner was something I kicked off. I think it was about 2 weeks ago now, but it's been kind of in the background of my mind for quite some time, probably since Code Garden, where I kind of felt after Code Garden it would be really cool to have a kind of almost a welcome for newbies, like first timers going to Code Garden, or just new people to Umbraco who have managed to get a ticket to go to Code Garden. So I thought it'd be kind of a cool way of doing it virtually, of an introduction to the Umbraco community via a blog. So I kind of spun up a quick idea of a similar approach to what the U profiles are on the Umbraco website. So the plan was I just put a quick tweet out just asking for anybody that has only been using Umbraco for about a year to basically get in touch, and I've been inundated. So I think I've got enough people now for about 2 months worth of profiles to be posted, which makes my life a lot easier to keep my blog up to date. It gives content. So the plan is every Monday I'll post a new profile onto my website, so Owain.codes, and hopefully introduce people to the Umbraco community. So the first one I had was from HQ. It was Jesper, which is really cool. And the second one was from Ting, who is someone I met at our Umbraco Meetup last month. So it's the same question, the same set of questions that get sent to everybody. And I've just spotted that Dean, I feel he feels guilty. It's cool. Everybody's busy. We don't need to worry about that. So it's just basically, if you know somebody that's just got into the community or wants to be in the community, get in touch. I've posted it on I've posted it on Twitter, I've posted it on LinkedIn. Basically anywhere that I am, I've posted a link somewhere. So that's basically it. That's my plan.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool idea. I love it, sort of helping to boost the newbies, get them known.
Yeah, I was pretty pleased actually how many people have got in touch. I wasn't sure it was going to take off, but it has, so it's fantastic. So hopefully we'll get more people kind of join the community and kind of taking part, whether that's in the forums or pull requests or just being more active on social media and stuff. So it's all cool.
Nice. That's cool. You're heading off, Lars.
See you later.
See you, Lars. Right, so that...
I really like that it's a community initiative by a community member. Love it.
Really cool. That's my thing. So that is where my plan sort of ends. So if anyone has any things they would like to, I do have actually going on with the animation stuff, a little library that I quite happily share around. But if there's anything that someone would like to show off, would like to talk about, or just discuss, now is your time. Anyone? Cool. And it doesn't have to be anything like planned. It could be really. So I'll give you an example of with what I'm about to do. So this this library that I've been looking at for animations has been making my life a lot easier from a front-end point of view. Have we got any front-end developers here at the moment? Yeah, a couple. So, you know, one of the, a lot of times designers will, for me at least, hand over a design and they started creating actual animation UI examples that they want us to implement. And we've been trying to find a way to streamline that process of making nice, simple animations without adding a load of weight onto our website. So you've got libraries such as GreenSock. It's quite a fairly well-known animation library, which is fairly big, used to be quite big in the Flash days. And it's still a really useful tool, very, very good at what it does. It's just very heavy. Whereas we want something as small as possible. So I'll just quickly share my screen. Oh, is that the famous John? It is. He's got to say hi.
Say it again. You're off mute.
Hello.
Hello.
He's off to watch his team beat.
Don't have any Umbraco on right now.
I'm sure it's not tattooed on.
He was wearing it earlier, to be fair.
Bye.
Bye. Anyway, so yeah, I'll just quickly share my screen. It's going to work. So we just open up. Oh dear. Yes. So this is the library, and it's 14 kilobytes in size. It's very small. There's good documentation on GitHub. They've also got an example site, which is this one, and it's set up so it can be used with CSS properties, but it can also be used with just any value. So if you've got some JSON data that you want to animate, in the sense that you've got, I'm trying to think, so you're not using a CSS-based thing, maybe you're using some canvas-related animations, and you want to animate a value from 0 to 100, you can still use this library to do that sort of thing. And it essentially follows this convention here, where you call it anime, you give it the target of your element, or if it's div or not, and then you say translate X. So it has loads of different properties, standard CSS properties. There are timelines. there are, meaning you can link lots of animations one after other on multiple elements. And it means that you can get these sort of animations that you want lots of control over very easily. They have a lot of built-in easing functions, so you can get, that smooth curve rather than that sort of very stiff linear animation that usually doesn't look quite so nice. It also, out of the box, has these sort of elasticity style animations, so you'll get a bit of a bounce. So if you start from here, we'll sort of do that. In fact, there's probably examples that I'm missing out. There you go. So this is like a, can we all see that? So that's sort of a standard animation, and it's very lightweight and it's very efficient. It tends to work quite nicely. So we've been using this for our site, for the last couple of sites, just to add those nice little animations. So it can be useful in instances where you want a pop-up, like a modal window, and usually, you could. We don't tend to find a package that does modals because they often quite have a lot of extra stuff that we don't need. So we've been using this to give it a little bit of polish. So rather than just appearing it, you can click it, add the animation to make the background fade in, make the actual, what we're talking about, make the actual content in the modal sort of zoom up a bit as well. And it all takes a couple of lines of code. So rather than having to worry about finding a library or add extra stuff, it can all be done with this. So yeah, it's worth checking out. It's quite a lot in it, so I'm not going to go full in depth. Like I said, this is completely unplanned. I haven't figured anything out about how I would talk about this, but before I share it with you, if anyone has any questions, I will try and answer.
The question will be, does it rely on jQuery?
No, this is completely native JavaScript, doesn't rely on anything. Yeah, that's the, it's on GitHub. It's called AnimeJS. And yeah, it's pretty sweet. Where else it be? So I've got windows all over the place here. So the minified, as you can see, is 14 kilobytes, which I think is a very reasonable size bit of code for adding in a little bit of polish into your sites. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on that. Any other questions about it? No? I hope someone finds it useful. That'd be good. Right. Does anyone else have anything else they'd like to talk about?
I can share something.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Let me see. How do you share screens? So, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yep.
As soon as you share screens, everybody disappears. Anyway, so I've been doing a lot of front-end stuff recently. And one of those is playing around with Vue.js and trying to work in a way that is progressively enhanced. Because I think when you do a lot of Vue.js out of the box, it tends to all get shoved into JavaScript. But one of those things was being able to get data into kind of Vue components. One way that you can use is either kind of load it in from a third party from an API controller, which is kind of duplicating up the requests because we render on the server anyway using Razor files. We've already got access to the data, so it's like, how can we use that rather than sending that, like the initial HTML down to the browser, but then making another request for the Ajax data? It kind of seems wasteful. One approach would be to drop a load of JSON data into like an area and kind of parse that and load that up. But I thought it'd be fun to kind of work on an approach of using data attributes. So I've created, well, I say I created, but it was somebody else that kind of helped as well, which I don't know his handle, so I need to put him on here as a reference, but it's pretty cool. It's just a way of kind of using data attributes as an object notation language. So when you're rendering out kind of your markup, say you're listing out a bunch of people, you've already got access to a lot of the data that you're probably going to want within JavaScript. So what this allows you to do is kind of define, here's an array, this is an object inside the array. I want to pull these attributes out and put them into properties. Same here. I want to use this node as a value, and its key should be name. So ultimately, it's kind of an object notation language that's written around data attributes, and it works similar to JSON.parse. So you would do DATON.parse and give it the root DOM element, and it basically goes through the DOM element descendants and pulls out all the data attributes and kind of shoves them all into a nice object so that you can use that data inside your JavaScript. And then just down here is just like, it's pretty simple at the moment, so you can see the different attributes that are available. There's not that many, but it allows you to pull out kind of all the data that's embedded in the document. So I thought it was quite nice as a way to do progressive enhancement. You can render your markup how you want on the server. You've got access to the data right there and then, so just decorate your DOM a little bit with some extra attributes and just get JavaScript to parse it.
Really nice stuff. I think that was. So I do similar sort of stuff. I'm not saying the same, but tend to do it manually.
Yeah.
So this looks like it would make life a lot easier.
Yeah. So this is on my GitHub repository. So github.com/Matt Brailsford/Daton. It is on NPM if anybody wants to try it. Like I say, it's a bit of an experiment. I don't know whether I've used it. I'm using it at the moment in a project, but it'd be quite interesting to see if anybody else uses it and finds it useful. Like I say, if you're into progressive enhancement and those types of things and being able to render on the server but then parse it and use data on the front end, I just think it could be quite an interesting approach to kind of do two things at the same time, basically.
Yeah, no, I like it. And it takes a lot of that. Obviously, server-side rendering is obviously a big thing with, React and
yeah.
But it seems like the barrier to entry for that is quite high.
Yeah, this is one of the things that I've been learning in that area quite a lot recently, and it seems kind of weird that we already know how to render stuff at the server side. We already know how to output HTML and markup and things like that. So it's moving to an approach of, right, let's just go straight into React, straight into Vue, do it that way, and then we're going to do the server-side rendering. It all seems really weird that people are kind of making that shift, like that binary shift. Yep, we're going to stop doing what we're doing now. We're going to do all of this new stuff now on server-side render, which just doesn't give you any control over what you're putting down to the browser. So we've spent years perfecting how to craft all of this stuff for SEO and things like that, and people are just throwing it away for server-side rendering using those standard approaches. So yeah, I've been kind of playing a lot around the idea of trying to be able to use Vue but stick with the practices that I know as much as I can. So, and this was one of those little things just to kind of tack on.
Yeah, it's very cool. Well done.
There is.
Great work. Once again, blowing our minds. Nice. Cool. My thing's gone. Where's my chat? Right. Anybody else? Oh, yes. Dean, did you want to show off your stuff you've been working on?
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah, if I share my screen, let's see how this works. Desktop. So, yeah, just carrying on from where I've left off there. Quite a long time ago, I started marking up all of my HTML with data attributes to use as hooks for CSS and for JavaScript. It came about when I was looking at schema.org and I was marking up an address, and I just thought, well, this address appears in several places and I can put some conditional CSS on that to make it appear in different ways. And as you can see, everything I've got my own kind of bootstrap, if you like, that I've has grown over about 20 years through various versions of CSS. But yeah, so this is the markup for this site here, which is in multiple languages, and having data attributes as hooks has been really good. I have got a really cool project that I've done at the start of the year in Vue that I can't show you because it's under NDA. But so
don't tease us.
I know. I'm so sorry. It was like what I can say. It was like a large touchscreen project. It was a couple of touchscreens, and it pulled in a load of JSON as products, which were rendered as swipeable indexes, and we used the HTML range at the bottom as well, so you could swipe the screen with your hand, or you could use the little range thing at the bottom if you're a bit too short to reach the screen. But so I don't know how much you know about me. I've been bothering people in the Slack chat asking daft Umbraco questions, so I do apologise. But basically, we built a classic ASP content management system 13 years ago, and unfortunately the video window keeps popping over stuff. So this is our content management system here. Very, very simple. We've got a simple tree. You lock a page, you go in, you're going to recognize all this from Umbraco really, but you've got page properties, you've got a second set of tabs, which I'm going to be honest now, I'm going to say this is the thing that drives me crazy with Umbraco, and we're trying all different ways to get to grips with how deep you can go nesting stuff, and that's what I'm struggling with at the moment. But yeah, preview, editing, page features, and we've got areas which you can create and add things to the page. But yeah, this is a site that we built in our content management system, and we are just porting it over to Umbraco. There you go. So same website, haven't got the fonts in yet, which is why it looks a little bit different. But yeah, I guess that's the first thing I can show you. So this is not a paid project. This was a paid project. This we're going to do for the client for free as a learning experience. Sorry, can you all see both screens, by the way? So I should.
Yeah. Quick question. How was the transition between porting that site over to Umbraco?
Well, to be quite honest, really easy, because there's just so little difference between the. We literally just grab my bootstrap. I'll call it boot. I mean, it's not really a bootstrap. It's much more component oriented than bootstrap, to be honest. But so we just grabbed my code, put it into partials, chopped it up, and took out the classic ASP hooks and put in Umbraco ones. Relatively straightforward. To be fair, my business partner worked on this one, and so he's very familiar with the way I write my templates. One day I will get around to showing you. It's very modular. I intend to bring it into. I will share it at some point. But what I'm a little bit more excited about is our first paid project. Sorry, my screen is really wide, and this probably isn't the best screen to show it on. But so this is what I'm working on at the moment. It's taken a few weeks, and I'm currently. Oh, I knew this would happen. Let me see if am I logged in somewhere. Let me just quickly log in. And we're hosting this on Azure as well, so it's such a big learning curve because we're classic ASP on IS with rack space. But so at the moment I'm just setting up. It's going to be here somewhere. I bet I haven't saved the page, but I'm just setting up the image cropper, which I was asking questions. Look, the community's been fantastic, I have to say. I mean, I just love the fact I can ask a question in Slack, and 9 times out of 10 somebody will get back very quickly. But yeah, sorry, you were saying about animation. I'm a bit of a CSS purist, so I try and, so things like this, once upon a time I would have done it all in CSS. Then I started doing it in JavaScript because of jQuery. I'm talking many years ago. And then over the years, I've tried to make everything just back in CSS again as well, because there's just, it's so quick and light, and there's just no need to use JavaScript for most of it. But
very nice.
So
yeah, I completely agree with that.
there's only one large image in there at the moment. So what I'm working on at the moment, and I bet I won't be able to find it now. Which one did we set up? I can't find it. But anyway, we've set up the image cropper with the media with image, so that now it will upload. Let me just find one of the sites. So this site, for example, we've got 12 crops for the background image. And I can't grab the corner again because so I'm not used to the video editor thing. But there are different crops as you if you're on different devices. Let's go. Probably about us page, similar site. So I don't know if you can see how it crops in different ways at different breakpoints. So yeah, what I wanted to do was use the image cropper to automatically crop a load of background images. So the thing I've run into at the moment is obviously for portrait, where obviously you need quite a different crop. In this instance, it was relatively easy. You can see the people's heads just poking out the bottom there. I think the thing I'm going to run into at the moment is, and I've lost the actual, where's the other site? Is it this one? Is it this one? The thing I'm going to run into here is doing the different crops for the plane. This is going to have some text underneath it, which the client insists on being in the image. But so I've got to try and work out a way the image is actually only this tall. So I'm going to extend some blue underneath it. But oh, here we go. Sorry, there you go. So there's some crops in Adobe XD that I mocked up earlier. Sorry, as you can tell, I'm exceptionally nervous. But anyway, look, that's it really. So look, our first Umbraco, you've witnessed our whole thing's first paid Umbraco project. Yeah, that's it. I'll show you some more another day when I'm a bit more organised and I'm expecting it.
Fantastic, Dean. Really cool. It's always interesting to see how other people are working and the different things they do. You were saying about the animations with CSS. I completely get it with that. The animations, that library I was showing, it's more for the UI animations, but I completely get what you mean. Those nice simple hovers CSS, and it's cool using the cropper, and I'm guessing you're using source set and the picture element for those images.
Not yet, so that's the other thing. So that's what I want to link up, source set and picture element. And the other thing that I'm doing at the moment here, so in that, let's go back to, well, so any one of these, and I wish we'd been using Umbraco for this one, because as you can see, it's in Chinese and Japanese, and I think we would have done a much better job in Umbraco for this site. This is Mitsubishi's Metals Trading Division. So yeah, it would have been, this is actually built as 3 separate websites, whereas I think in Umbraco we would have probably built it as one site. In fact, actually the one that I was just showing you, this one here, we've actually linked. So this lady actually has two parts to her company. One is honeymoons and weddings, and the other part is like tailor-made holidays. And she will be marketing to 2 different audiences. So she may well put an advert in a weddings magazine, for example, and she actually was just going to have the honeymoon and holiday fixer, but she'd already bought the separate domains, and I didn't know whether Umbraco was capable of hosting multiple sites. Done a bit of research, found out that it was, but essentially this is still really one website. So she didn't like the idea of having separate websites. But when I actually said to her, well, look, we can actually point the domain to a part of the site. So now she can actually do a targeted marketing campaign in a wedding magazine, and she can do another one in, say, a family holiday magazine. So that was a really useful thing in Umbraco that we can't do in our own content management system. So yeah, I guess that's one thing. But what I am doing at the moment, so the site, the way that I lay all these grids out at the moment, I use display table. Sorry for the devs that's not particularly interesting, but so display table is much more reliable than floats. It means we, in a responsive environment, I've got much more control. All the let's make that a little bit bigger. So all the images are nice and squishy, and it all fits really nicely. And actually, at the moment, we're just mucking about with actually having different font sizes on different devices as well to optimize line lengths. So we do go to a lot of trouble, but as you can see, I mean, this works pretty kind of nicely for mobile. And but that is all using display tables. So what I promised myself is the day we move to Umbraco is I'm going to put it all into CSS Grid. So this is now laid out with using CSS Grid instead of display table, and then I can use my old code, my old display table code for fallbacks. And the same with the navigation as well, would have all been done with display table, but this is using Flexbox. And what I'm hoping to do, I think Umbraco Grid uses Bootstrap's Grid, if I remember rightly. Can anyone confirm that? Sorry, I think that's
right.
It's Bootstrap 4, which is okay. And I think Bootstrap 4 uses Flexbox anyway. But yeah, I think it would be great to convert Umbraco Grid to CSS Grid. And then I think we're going to have a really, really powerful tool for layout. So
you can just specify whatever you want. So it's pretty easy.
But well, that's my aim to be. And I really would love to contribute to the community. For the last 13 years, it's just been myself and my business partner working in our own little bubble, struggling to keep up with the speed of change in the way that sites are built in the industry. And we've not been a part of a community, and we have looked at lots of other content management systems over the years. It happened by mistake. We built one CMS for one client 13 years ago.
So did Umbraco, by the way.
I think most CMSs do start that way. So, but yeah, it's really great to be a part of a community, and we're already working with a couple of other Umbraco devs, and they've been amazingly helpful. And that's it, really. I think I've probably taken up more than my fair share of time, so thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing it. Yeah, it's really, really cool to hear other people's stories about how they've been using it. Well done, and well done for your first little talk.
Thanks.
Cool. So there was...
I think Søren has something to show.
Yeah, it's on. So I'll just share my screen here. So
yeah, go for it.
So at the moment we are working on a new site for a company called Intravat here in Denmark. It's going to be multilingual, so we need a language switch up here. And a few years back, when I was new to Umbraco, I got so lucky to have an article in 24 Days In regarding how I built a contextual language switch for another site we built back then. And if you look at the code for this specific language switch, I looked at it and I thought, oh, I come a long way since that, using dynamic loads and descendants and yeah. So what I did for
but it worked.
Yeah. So what I did for this site was we have this structure made up of root nodes for each of the languages. And on these we have figures for front page and navs and stuff like that. So I have the root node here for the Danish language and the root node for the English language. So what I can do is I can go on one of the subpages here and select using Kevin Jump's package for linked pages. I can select what page on the other languages are the related ones. So on this one, I have selected a subpage on the English side. So if we go to the front page here, I can see that if I click the flag up here, I go to the front page of the English side. But on this specific subpage, where I set up that the corresponding English page for this one was a specific page. If I go to the language switch up here, click, I go directly to the subpage. So how this is built, I showed you the relations before, but inside of the code, currently it's in a razor view. Instead of going through domains and old namespaces and using a lot of code for practically nothing, I go through the relation service, get relations for the current page for the current page. So I have a list of the sites on the solution where we have the Danish and the English site. So I look through this one, get the culture of the site to use later for the icon. Then I can see in my relations if there is any relation regarding the current page, I can get the link for that instead of linking to the site. So what before was a huge mess of code, now broken down into 20 lines and could probably be even better. So I'm using the relation service for this. I got some advice that it wasn't that big a deal like using content service and etc. I haven't tested it out completely yet. We are not done with the site, but I think it's more or less okay. If not, I'm going to do some testing. But how this is better than the previous approach is that before I had a content picker on each node where the editors could select which other page was the language version of that. And to have this completely fine, they needed to go to each language version and choose different pages. By using relations, this is all handled by Umbraco. So if I select the English page and the English page automatically gets related to the Danish page. That just makes everything easier for the editors. They don't have to remember to do the same thing on the English side that they just did on the Danish side. So that's how I do my language switching on these pages. I think it's a nice way of helping both users and editors, and still having fun by doing something that's not just adding some HTML and press model.link something. So, yeah.
Very cool. Looks like there's a blog post in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that in Slack too. So.
Yeah, do it. That's really cool. Nice to see how much you've improved on it, and turned out interesting use of the relation service. I've not really personally. How many people use the relation service? I've not used it that much. I always feel like I need to, but cool.
I always wanted to use it. So.
Yeah, nice. Right. So has anyone else got anything they'd like to share or show? No at all?
I thought there was something else earlier, but oh no, it was Søren. Never mind. Oh, Matt Wise wants to show something.
Yeah, go for it.
Yes, please.
Hi guys.
Hi Matt.
Right, let's find this. Where do we share screen button? There we go. So, service workers, I'm obsessed with at the moment. We are doing progressive web apps more and more. So service workers is becoming more and more part of my job. So I did a talk recently in Umbraco Leeds about them. This was the sample code I was meant to show, but I had computer issues, so I didn't show any samples that time. But basically, this is showing how you can pre-cache some URLs, and also it caches the media from Umbraco so that you get faster responses. So you can see here we've just got a set of URLs. There's processes in Webpack, so you can set them up so that all of this happens automatically, so you don't have to deal with listing out all your resources. But you can also cache external resources that don't have to be local. So it's good to know for things like fonts as well. So this is just the install process of the service worker. I'm assuming everyone knows what a service worker is.
No.
So it's a JavaScript, as you can probably tell, that sits in between the network layer of the browser and the server, and basically intercepts any requests and then allows you to handle those requests in different ways. So in here, you can see I'm pushing those into cache APIs, the browser's cache API, that is, so that next time they're requested, we can just pull that straight from the cache if we want to, or we can go network first and get them from the network. It all depends on how you want to use them. So in this case, this one here, so on fetch of any URL that's within the scope of the service worker. Check to see if we have a matching result, and if we do, then we're just going to return that response. And for the example, I was just putting console out so you can see. So if that, in this case, if it's in the cache, we're all good. We can instantly return it because it's already on your machine. No need to worry about network requests or slow networks there. Otherwise, we're going to get the URL, and we're just going to see if it's a media item. If it's not, then we're just going to ignore it and carry on, because we're not going to cache it for this case. Otherwise, we're going to fetch the fetch request, and then we're going to push that into the cache and push it into the cache to clone it here. But we're just going to return that response initially, and then clone the response and push that in to our cache. So next time you load that image, it will be instant instead of taking however long that image takes to load. It's great for things like header images for mobile users if they're on a poor connection. So in the example I have on my full screen desktop, that image loads over 3G, big header image from the start kit, takes a little while, refresh it again, and it's instant. So yeah, that's it. If you want it, it's somewhere on GitHub for me, or there's loads of examples of these kind of things apart from the regex, which I'm sure you can all manage.
Really cool. Is that also caching the pages as well, or is that only caching those URLs that you want?
That just the URLs you want, but you can obviously expand that. It was just a quick example of just the media.
Yeah, it's very cool. I've been playing around with them myself as well, and one of the issues I found was I chucked in a service worker so it cached pretty much every file, every page you went to, it would cache it so it would save it. And I forgot to exclude all the Umbraco side of things. So you went to the back office and you save stuff, change stuff, and it would start breaking things in the back office because it would cache it weirdly. And then the preview stopped working, so it was caching those. It was caching the actual HTML page.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh crap. So I had to then, obviously, trying to remove a service worker can be quite tricky sometimes.
Just Chrome DevTools. Best place is just good to hear.
Yes.
Service workers.
Yeah, exactly. But
what's the old saying about caching? You had a performance problem, you added cache, and now you have two problems.
Yeah.
That's a regex saying.
Yeah.
Just roll with it.
Great for having a bit of offline support.
Yeah, so obviously you can expand this to start doing offline stuff. If I was on my work machine, what's actually a really good place to go if you want to kind of cheat and not do it all yourself is Google obviously have something that wraps it all for you. And this also hooks into Webpack. So it will allow you to go back. You can just get it to instantly cache things that you want. You can set up the registering routes yourself. It has wrappers around how to handle those requests, cache age, max entries. It helps you do Google Analytics offline. It's great for a reference if you just want to see how theirs works underneath it, or use it while using it, because it makes life a lot easier. But yeah, there you go. Quick service workers thing.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much.
It's all right.
Thanks, Matt. I also know that there's still an open pull request for this, and it's just that nobody in our team has any experience with it, so we really have to look at it.
Well, like I said, give me a shout if you ever want to go through it more than that. I'll be about somewhere.
No worries. Thanks.
Right, I'll stop sharing now. There you go.
Thanks very much.
It's all right.
Cool. Right. If anyone else, any more for any more?
Can I just say something?
Yeah, go for it.
It's not something new. I just felt like it was proper to show it to you. I want to tell you the story about how I began to use Umbraco, actually. Back in 2001, I think, we were asked to create a CMS, as everybody at that point in time, and we created this thing. I know. Please ignore the Greek characters. We created this thing.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was created in Classic ASP.3, and at the time it was VB6, I think, the functionality part. So we created this thing which awfully resembled the Umbraco in the sense that it had a content tree and it had documents with configured properties and all the things that Umbraco currently has, and probably a lot less than Umbraco currently has. But the point is that this was made about 2001. When I first saw Umbraco 3, I said that was it. That is it. I'm switching to Umbraco. You can understand why now. That's it for me.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing. That's a nice little story.
I actually have a very similar story where the company I was working for had a wonderfully similar looking CMS as yours over there, except it was purple, not blue. And it had XSLT, so I knew how to use that. Then we figured out, the only thing that we never figured out, which I was always angry about for 2 years when I was working there, is like, updating document types. I have to go into the database and actually change things in 4 tables and make sure to note down the IDs that I need to match up on everywhere. It's like, if we could only fix that, then we have a really cool CMS.
Yeah, I think
I found Umbraco.
you have been using my CMS, I think. It was based on XSLT, and it was using an Access database.
Right? And ours was VB as well. So yeah, it was great.
Cool.
Let's never mention VB again. Okay.
That banned topic now.
Deal.
Cool. Well, shall we call that an end? Unless anyone has anything else. That we all good? Cool. Okay. Well, thank you all for joining in. It's been nice. I think the next one will probably be in November. I was going to do it in December, but December is always a tricky time of year for most people. And I am going to make the next one probably an unsociable hour for us in Europe, because I want to try and make it more, get some people from Australia and from America over. So it'll probably be at around 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning UK time.
Hang on. You didn't discuss this with me.
Yeah, I know. We'll discuss it later.
I need to cycle to the office.
Bank holiday weekend, and I've got 2 days recovery. I can wake up for that. But I can't start past 11 otherwise. No.
I have a proper look at times. But yeah, obviously you can all still join in. Just you may have to be up later or very early. Cool. Right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. And yeah, thanks for coming. See you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.